This video is to help you with number 1 on CR Helper number 21. Before we try the actual problem, I just want to make sure you remember how to find like denominators. 4 6 is how many 12s? Well, if I look at my denominator, I say, okay, 6 times 2 is 12. If I'm going to multiply the denominator by 2, I must also multiply the numerator by 2, so that I'm just multiplying by a fancy form of 1. 4 times 2 is 8. Therefore, 4 6 represents the exact same number as 8 12ths. Let's just double check that. If I had a rectangle that I broke into 6 equal parts, and I cared about 4 of those 6 parts, and I looked at that same rectangle but now broke it into 12 equal parts, and I want to make sure I shade in the same amount of that rectangle, well, this time I'd have to shade in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 12ths. 4 6 represents the exact same amount as 8 12ths. I just wanted to remind you how to find a common denominator before we try the actual problem. A group of gardeners have 4 bags of soil with weights as shown below. Maybe the weights of the bags are in pounds. So the first bag would be 21 1/2 pounds. The next bag would be 22 4/6 pounds. The next bag would be 21 5/6 pounds. And the last bag would be 22 4/12 pounds. Which list has the bags listed in order from lightest to heaviest? Lightest to heaviest, they must want us to write the numbers in order from least to greatest. Well, one strategy, and there's many strategies, but one strategy is you could choose to write each of the fraction parts using a common denominator. So if I looked at 2, 6, and 12, the common denominator for that would be 12ths. So I'd want to convert 1/2 to some number of 12ths. 1/2 is how many 12ths? Well, I could do 2 times 6 is 12. If I'm going to multiply the denominator by 6, I must also multiply the numerator by 6. So then I would have 21 1/2 is the same as 21 6 12ths. Now, if I want to write 22 4/6 with a denominator of 12, I would say, okay, 6 times 2 is 12. If I'm going to multiply the denominator by 2, I must also multiply the numerator by 2. 4 times 2 is 8. So 22 4/6 is the same as 22 8 12ths. The next number, 21 5/6. If I want to write that 5 6 with a denominator of 12, I would multiply the 6 by 2. If I'm going to multiply the denominator by 2, I need to also multiply that numerator by 2. So that would be 21 5/6 is the same as 21 10 12ths. Finally, we have 22 4/12, that's already in 12ths. So 22 4/12 is that last bag. Now they want us to go from lightest to heaviest or least to greatest. So I know I have 21, that's smaller than 22. So now I just look here. Is 21 6/12 more or less than 21 10/12? 21 6/12 is less than 21 10/12. So I put my 21 6/12 first. Then my 21 10/12 would come next. Then I move on to the higher whole number, which is 22. Then I have to look here. 22 8/12 is actually more than 22 4/12. So the next number I'd list would be 22 4/12. And then finally, the heaviest bag would be the 22 8/12. I'm sure your lists would then have your numbers back in the original form they were given. So 21 6/12, we know it's the same as 21 1/2. 21 10/12 is the same as 21 5/6. 22 4/12, that's exactly how that number was given. And finally, the 22 8/12 is the same as 22 4/6. So that would list those bags from lightest to heaviest. I hope that's helpful.